This course is for electrical powered forklifts. You'll learn about types of electric forklifts, parts of the electric forklift, controls and indicators on your forklift, safety labels, safety devices, attachments to your forklift, battery safety, and battery charging area safety. There are three basic types of electric powered forklifts: electrical motor rider forklifts, electrical motor narrow aisle forklifts, and electrical motor hand forklifts or hand rider forklifts. All forklifts have a designation based on what powers them. E is for electric. Only electrical powered forklifts should be used in closed buildings unless special ventilation is provided to remove the exhaust gases from diesel or LP powered forklifts. Other additional designations provide special designs of the electrical system for preventing sparks or heat from the forklift from causing fires and explosions in high hazard areas. Parts of an electrical powered forklift you should know are batteries, tires, safety and warning devices, the forklift controls, instrument panel, forks, mast, attachment, and information label. Electric forklifts use large industrial batteries. The parts include cells, which are alternately spaced positive and negative plates. Separators are located between the plates for insulation. Cells are in a steel container called the battery tray. Cells are also fully submerged in a liquid sulfuric acid called the electrolyte. A positive and negative terminal is visible at the top of each cell. The assembly is known as the element. There are specific hazards associated with forklift batteries. Safe practices include never creating an electrical path by connecting the positive to the negative terminal by any part of your body or by any other material or tool. Never wear metal jewelry which can conduct electricity. Never put metal articles or tools on top of the battery. Always shut the charger off when connecting or disconnecting the battery. Use only non-sparking, non-conductive tools. Keep the vent plugs in place at all times. Check the battery cables and cable connectors regularly for wear, and follow lockout-tagout procedures when working on a battery in a forklift. As a forklift operator, you're required to read and understand and comply with all safety labels. Warning labels or decals that provide safety information to operators must be clearly visible to the operator and must be replaced if missing, damaged, or illegible. Danger means hazard may cause death or serious injury. Warning means follow direction to prevent death or serious injury, and caution means precautions to avoid minor or moderate injury. Other important information about your forklift can be found on the nameplate or data plate. It has important information about type, weight, capacity, and attachments. Labels are attached to each forklift and indicate the model and serial number, weight, dimensions, and capacity. Don't operate a forklift with an unreadable or missing nameplate. Capacity is the manufacturer's guideline for how much weight a forklift can safely lift. Exceeding the capacity of a forklift presents serious hazards, including tip-over. Safety practices include checking the nameplate for carrying capacity and maximum height, do not exceed the capacity of the forklift, and understanding that addition of an attachment lowers the load capacity of a forklift. Be sure you understand that the size, position, and weight distribution of the load also affects capacity. Every forklift has many safety devices. Be sure to check and use all the safety devices on your forklift. These include seat belts, horns, backup alarms, fire extinguisher, warning and flashing lights, directional signals, and brake lights, as well as mirrors. To safely operate your forklift, you must understand all the controls. The steering control is generally a wheel or a lever or possibly foot operated. Forward and reverse controls allow you to move the forklift forward or backwards. Hydraulic lift controls control the rise and lowering and tilting of forks. Pedals are used for brakes and acceleration. Side shifter controls enable the forks to be moved slightly to the left or to the right. The parking brake allows you to set the brake when leaving a forklift, but you should also block the wheels if the forklift is parked on an incline. The electric forklift instruments allow you to monitor the condition and operation of your forklift. Read your operator's manual and become familiar with each warning light and gauge. Never operate a forklift with a warning light or gauge signaling an unsafe condition. A low battery charge indication means you should return to the battery charging area if the battery gauge is low. Recharge the battery only if you are trained and authorized to do so. The hour meter records the number of hours that a forklift has been used. You should log the hours of daily use. Do not exceed manufacturer's recommended hours in service before maintenance. Safe operations include to turn on the forklift and check all warning indicators. Never operate a forklift with a warning light or gauge signaling an unsafe condition, and do not attempt a repair unless you're authorized. You should report any abnormality to your supervisor. The forks carry the load. They have a heel where they curve upward and upright shank where they are attached to the carriage. Always be sure to look for defects, surface cracks, blade and shanks that are not straight, a fork angle that's not straight, a difference in height of the fork tips, positioning lock not in working order, a fork blade or shank wear, fork hook wear, or fork markings that are not legible. Safe operations include do not operate the forklift if the forks show any defects. Always inspect forks during the pre-operation inspection. Check the locking pin. Locking pin holds the forks in position and prevents sliding of the forks and loss of your load. The forklift mast is the vertical assembly that does the work of raising, lowering, and tilting the load. The carriage is made of a flat metal plate that move along the mast by chains or are directly attached to the hydraulic cylinder, which provides the force to move the mast. Mast configuration can affect the operator's visibility. Newer mast designs provide improved visibility compared with older designs that have a single central cylinder. In all cases, the operator should travel with the load trailing and/or use a spotter whenever necessary to ensure adequate visibility. There are several different types of forklift tires depending on how the forklift is used. Common types of forklift tires include air-filled, solid, or polyurethane. As part of the pre-operational inspection, check tire conditions, including cuts, gouges, excessive tread wear, and pressure for air-filled tires. Overhead guards are a very important safety feature. The overhead guard protects you, the operator, from large falling objects. They're good for protection against falling objects such as small packages, but may not withstand the impact of a falling capacity load. Always wear a hard hat for additional protection. Keep hands and feet within the forklift to avoid danger of falling loads. Use a load backrest extension behind the forks when necessary to minimize the possibility of the load or part of it from falling rearward. All high-lift rider forklifts, order picker forklifts, and rough terrain forklifts must be equipped with an overhead guard unless the operating conditions do not permit. As part of the daily inspection of the forklift, check the overhead guard for broken welds, missing bolts, or other damage. Operating forklifts with installed attachments requires a much larger safety margin. Attachments alter forklift performance by changing the center of gravity, visibility, and capacity. Examples of forklift attachments include slip sheet attachments, which avoid the use of pallets, container handlers to shift shipping containers, carton clamps with pressure valves to squeeze the load, bale clamps that grab and hold bales, barrel clamps, rotators that grab and rotate rolls, extending or telescoping forks, and personal platforms for lifting of people. Attachment hazards include overloading and tip over and falling loads. Safe operation includes knowing the attachment operation, its use, and the limitations. Know the new mechanical limitations of your forklift with attachments. Modifications or additions require written approval from the forklift manufacturer. special safety precautions are required in battery charging and changing areas. The battery charging area has several specific rules, such as no smoking, posted warning signs, fire protection, a water supply for flushing and neutralizing spilled electrolyte, an eye wash station or drench shower, a phone or other means of communication for emergency, designed ventilations to avoid the buildup of hydrogen gas, soda ash or other neutralization material in the immediate area, a dry chemical, CO2 or foam fire extinguisher, and impact barriers to protect the charging equipment. Even if you are not trained and authorized in battery charging or changing, you should still understand the hazards involved. An electric forklift is designed to operate for one shift and then be charged on the next shift or overnight. An alternative is to routinely change batteries instead of charging them in the vehicle. The discharged battery is removed from the forklift and a charged battery is installed in its place. Only trained and authorized personnel are permitted to charge and change batteries in electric forklifts. In addition to training in battery changing and charging procedures, these employees must be trained on emergency procedures in the event of an acid splash and how to use the eye wash and shower facilities. Battery changing and charging hazards include heavy batteries, batteries containing sulfuric acid that is highly corrosive and could be splashed on personnel servicing or changing batteries, and toward the end of the battery charging process, batteries can give off highly explosive hydrogen fumes. Contact with battery cells can cause electrical short circuits which can burn unprotected skin. There is a very specific procedure for changing batteries. First, drive the forklift to the battery changing area. Properly position the forklift and apply your brakes before attempting to change batteries. Disconnect the battery from the forklift electrical system. Use designated lifting beam and handling equipment to hoist the battery. Change batteries only in the designated battery changing area. Follow the posted instructions for using the hoist equipment. Place the battery in a rack for charging. Rig charged batteries to the lifting gear. Place new charged battery in the forklift. Then electrically connect the new battery to the forklift system. Battery charging also has very specific precautions. Charge batteries in the designated battery charging area only. When refilling batteries, pour acid into water. Never pour water into acid. Care must be taken to ensure that the vent caps are functioning. The battery or compartment covers must be opened to dissipate heat while the battery is charging. Because of the potential for buildup of explosive hydrogen gas, smoking is strictly prohibited in the charging area. Take precautions to prevent open flames, sparks, or electric arcs in the battery charging areas. Remove all metallic jewelry before recharging. Tool and other metallic objects must be kept away from the top of the uncovered batteries. Wear personal protective equipment. Face shields, safety goggles, neoprene or rubber gloves, and an apron are required for battery charging or refilling. Be sure you know and understand and follow all battery charging procedures. Check the electrolyte level before recharging. Record the specific gravity with a hydrometer in the service log. Check the pilot cell. Check the water level. Do not add water prior to recharging. Record all operations in the service log. Check the voltage. If the battery has sealed vents, do not charge with a current greater than 25 amps. Unplug and turn off the charger before connecting or disconnecting. Attach positive clamp to the positive battery terminal, then negative clamp to the negative battery terminal. Turn off the charger if the battery is hot or fluid comes out of the vents. Check water level after charging. Add distilled water or deionized water if fluid level is below the level indicator. Record all these activities in the service log. To extend the life of batteries, proper maintenance is required. Batteries can be expected to remain in service for about 2,000 work shifts or charge-discharge cycles. Proper maintenance increases the life of batteries. Do not continue a battery in service merely because it continues to deliver power. Do not exceed the recommended service hours. Do not overcharge or undercharge batteries. Do not use batteries beyond the discharge level. Warning signs of a low battery includes slow starting, dim headlights, and the animator indicating discharge at high RPM. Spent batteries are a hazardous waste unless they are properly reclaimed at a lead smelter or battery recycler. Using a battery beyond the recommended discharge level makes recharging difficult and may ruin the battery. Battery acid, or sulfuric acid, has specific hazards of which you should be aware. Battery fluid is a water-distilled sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is a clear, colorless, corrosive liquid with an acrid smell. Potential hazards include acid splash, which can burn your eyes, acid spill and discharge to the environment, and severe corrosive skin burns. Personal protective requirements include wearing chemical splash goggles and a full face shield, wearing acid-proof gloves made of rubber or neoprene, wear acid-resistant clothing or rubber or neoprene apron, wear acid-resistant safety shoes or boots. Employees who wear contact lenses should be aware that in the event of an acid splash to the eyes, the contact lens could hold the acid to the eye, making it more difficult to flush the acid away and causing more serious damage to the eye. In the event of a sulfuric acid spill or battery leakage, follow these precautions. For a large spill, evacuate the area and call for the emergency response team. Large spills create vapors that are a hazard to your lungs and eyes. Neutralize the spill with a solution of water and soda ash or baking soda. Use 1 pound of baking soda to 1 gallon of water. The acid reaction is completed when the acid stops fizzing. Make sure that the acid is neutralized by checking the pH and make sure it's neutral between 6 and 8. A pH of 7 is exactly neutral. Absorb neutralized material into clay or other absorbent material if necessary. If the spill is very large, contain the spill with earth or clay dikes. Brush under the battery connectors and remove all grime. Rinse the residue from the battery with clean water with a hose. Report the incident to your supervisor. Be sure to dispose of all spill cleanup material properly. Follow your company procedures. Exposure to sulfuric acid can be a very dangerous situation. Immediately report any battery acid exposure to your supervisor. If acid splashes to the skin or the eyes, flush the affected area with clean water in a shower or eye wash station for 15 minutes. During flushing, remove any acid-soaked clothing. Get medical attention immediately. If acid is swallowed and the victim is conscious, remove victim from the battery area and provide fresh air. Wash out the mouth with large amounts of water. Give the victim milk to drink. Do not try to induce vomiting. Monitor the victim's breathing and condition. Start CPR if the victim stops breathing. Get immediate medical attention. If the acid is swallowed and the victim is unconscious, remove the victim immediately from the battery area and provide fresh air. Start CPR if victim stops breathing. Provide oxygen if properly trained personnel are available. Get immediate medical attention. Flammable hydrogen gas is always released during battery charging. Hydrogen gas is potentially explosive if allowed to accumulate in a closed area. Ignition explosion of accumulated hydrogen gas can occur if a spark or open flame exists. Safe practices include obey no smoking signs, use non-sparking tools, prevent open flames, sparks, or electrical arcs in the battery charging area to minimize the danger of explosion, ensure adequate ventilation, and open the battery cover when charging so that the hydrogen gas can vent. This is especially important in confined areas where the danger of accumulation is greatest.